If you are considering moving to the Austin area, you've probably also checked out San Antonio, and you may be wondering, what is the difference between Austin and San Antonio? So as someone who's lived in Austin for over 10 years and visited San Antonio many, many times, I'm going to tell you some of the differences today, and we're going to go through some data as well. So there are a lot of similarities between these two cities, but there are a lot of differences, especially when it comes to cost of living, housing, overall lifestyle, things like that. Hi, I'm Tiffany Moore. I'm a local realtor and broker right here in Austin, Texas. I help people from all over the world move to Austin. So if that sounds like you can see my contact info on the bottom of the screen. Go ahead and jot it down. Reach out to me however you're comfortable. Email, text, DM, it all works. I've got your back when you're moving to Austin, and I will be sure to help you find the best place for you and your family. So let's jump right in. One of the biggest differences between Austin and San Antonio is the cost of living. So in Austin, the cost of living is significantly higher, with the city being 33% more expensive than San Antonio. So a big chunk of this is housing prices. Housing prices in Austin are substantially higher than in San Antonio. So the median sales price in Austin for February 2023 was $440,000. And that is the Austin metro area. That's not going to be for like Austin proper. There are some homes that you can get under 400 or around 400 in Austin proper, but by and large, they're going to be a little bit more expensive. So 440 is the median sales price for Austin in February for the Austin Round Rock metro area. So in San Antonio, median sales price is 310. That is a huge difference from 440 to 310. And just to put it into perspective, the Texas median sales price in February was 330. San Antonio is a lot closer to the Texas median sales price. Austin is by and large like one of the most expensive metro areas in Texas. So those are going to be some of the major differences. San Antonio is one of the most affordable. Austin's the most expensive. And that huge difference in housing contributes significantly to the difference in cost of living. So despite the higher cost of living, Austin has a really vibrant cultural scene with lots of music, art, festivals, lots of new and innovative restaurants, and a growing and booming technology industry. So it's attracting so many people to move here. Over 100 a day are moving to Austin, Texas. So let's compare that to San Antonio. San Antonio is definitely a more affordable place to live. Housing costs are about 55% lower than housing costs in Austin. And this is the general average, not just sales, rentals, apartments, things like that. San Antonio is definitely much more affordable. The city is really rich in history. It's got a really strong cultural heritage, and it's got really cool, iconic, historic landmarks like the Alamo and River Walk. I wouldn't say River Walk is very historical, but the Alamo is like primo in Texas. San Antonio also has a thriving job market with lots of positions in healthcare, military, cybersecurity, and it's really attractive for folks who are wanting to move there too, especially people that kind of want to be closer to Austin or part of Texas, but don't really want to pay the Austin price tag. So about 66 people a day are moving to San Antonio compared to Austin's 100. So we talked about Austin's housing prices being more expensive than San Antonio. This is going to play a really big role in your decision making if you're trying to decide between moving between Austin and San Antonio. If you've got an equal pick and you're not like tied to one area or another because of your job or family or any other reasons, the cost of living and housing is going to play a really big role in where you decide to move to. It's not the deciding factor. A lot of other factors are going to come into play, but it's definitely something that you need to consider. Even if you're not looking at buying, if you're considering renting, you need to know that the rental prices are significantly higher in Austin than they are in San Antonio. It's really hard to compare these because are we talking about homes, condos, apartments, things like that? I don't have a lot of numbers to share, but overall, just please understand that the rent is going to be a lot higher in Austin than in San Antonio. So let's talk about the investment market in Austin and San Antonio. I talked to a lot of folks who want to get in on the Austin housing market. They want to buy investment property in Austin. And I have to have kind of a hard conversation with them and let them know, listen, if you are looking to buy an investment property in Austin and you want to hold it for appreciation value, awesome. Austin is definitely going to appreciate. But if you're looking for cash flow And if you're trying to follow this 1% rule, which is basically like for whatever price you paid for the home, you should be getting 1% of that in rent. You are not going to get that in Austin. So the sales prices have gone up so much in the past several years. The rent continues to go up, but it hasn't reached that same level yet. So if you buy a house for, let's say, $500,000 in Cedar Park or in Round Rock, you are not going to get $5,000 rent for that house. It may be a different story in San Antonio. I think San Antonio is a much better spot to consider an investment property. It's lower prices. It does have lower rent, but those numbers are going to be a little bit more equal than what we're seeing in Austin. If you are investing just for appreciation purposes alone, I do think Austin is the way to go. It's just growing. It's exploding at a crazy rate. The prices are already higher. So if you buy a $500,000 house that appreciates 20%, you're going to get more cash, just straight up objective cash in your pocket than if you buy a $300,000 house that appreciates at 20%. So if that's your only concern, Austin is the way to go. If you want cash flow and you want to kind of cover more of your expenses with your investment property, you may want to consider San Antonio for that. So when we look at some other cost of living factors, Austin is going to be more affordable than San Antonio. It's much more budget friendly. The cost of living is about 30% lower in San Antonio than Austin, which means you can maintain your current standard of living with a little bit less money. Or if you're coming from somewhere like the Midwest, really anywhere that's not California, New York, or Seattle, this is going to be more of like the lifestyle and the budgeting that you're used to versus living in Austin. Austin is very affordable when we compare it to like, I'm coming from the Bay Area and coming from Seattle, I'm coming from New York City. Yeah, Austin is much more affordable compared to those areas, but compared to the rest of the country, it's really not. So if you're not coming from those high ticket, high income areas already, if you're coming from somewhere more normal, like, Louisville, Kentucky, San Antonio is going to be less of a shock to your system when it comes to overall cost of living. Also, health-related expenses are about 6% lower in San Antonio than they are in Austin. This may be an important factor to consider, especially if you know that, maybe you have health issues or you need to see a doctor regularly, or that that's going to be a big chunk of your income. Going somewhere where it's a little bit less expensive, maybe to your benefit. I don't know what the story is behind that. So I've talked in a couple other videos that maybe the fact is that Austin has more specialists and more higher end medicine. I know there's a lot of innovation going on in Austin. We're building a brand new Dell Children's Hospital here. So there is probably a story behind why the medical costs are more expensive in Austin than they are in San Antonio. That's definitely something to consider and to do your research on when you're thinking about moving here. Okay, let's compare Austin and San Antonio when we're talking about employment and the economy. So both Austin and San Antonio have strong economies and job markets, while Austin has experienced lower unemployment and more significant job growth. Both cities are expected to see rapid growth in the next few years. And this is really due to the presence of a lot of major companies and strong startup companies in both cities, making them attractive places for people to move to and for other companies to move to as well. So whether you're an employee or you're an entrepreneur, you want to start your own business, or you're growing, expanding the business that you're currently in, both cities have a lot to offer. There's a lot of growth and expansion going on in Austin and in San Antonio. Really, if you're looking for opportunity, Texas is the place to be. So everywhere like Houston, Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, all of these cities are growing and exploding right now. Austin is one of the biggest areas that we're looking at growth in technology, but really the whole state of Texas is blowing up right now. So when we talk about, what employers are in Austin and San Antonio, both cities kind of have similar sectors of jobs when it comes to growth and employment and things like that. The tech sector has definitely boomed in Austin, and Austin is kind of considered a smaller Silicon Valley right now. So it's got big companies like Tesla, Apple, and Dell, kind of being anchors to the city. But those are just some of the big companies here. We've also got Google and Facebook and Amazon, and a ton of smaller companies, smaller startups, smaller independent companies, smaller mom and pops. Austin is thriving as far as technology and as far as small business, startups, entrepreneurial things. Everything is growing right now. So some of the big guys that we just talked about, Tesla has built the Gigafactory here. It is literally a mile long. The Gigafactory is literally a mile long, and they're adding onto it. I live right across the street from the new Apple campus that they're building, and they're not even done with it. There's not even like people moved in working on it. And already this year they've announced twice that they're going to be expanding on that campus and building even more on it. So it's not just that these companies are here, they landed here, and then they're just like, they continue to grow once they get here. And Dell is kind of like the OG tech company in Austin. They've been here literally since 1984 when Michael Dell founded it when he was a student at UT Austin. So these are just some of the big tech companies that are here. There's so many other smaller companies that are getting established and growing. And Austin just continues to grow in tech, which is expanding into so many other industries. On the other hand, San Antonio has also made really big strides in technology, and they have had a lot of growth in the industries like aerospace, cybersecurity, and medical industries too. So the diversity of the job sector in San Antonio and in Austin really helps make the economy stronger and the employment stronger, and just more and more growth and opportunity in both of these areas. So let's talk about the unemployment rates in Austin and San Antonio. We know that both areas are exploding, but what does the unemployment rate actually look like? So in Austin, the unemployment rate is 5.1. San Antonio is a little bit higher at 6.6. And we also need to mention that the income in Austin is about 28% higher than the income in San Antonio, and it's about 10% above the national average. So it's a really good place for people who are looking to go somewhere where they can make a higher income that's probably related to the tech industries that are moving here and all that good stuff. So unemployment is low, salary is higher in Austin, but overall, both Austin and San Antonio have pretty low unemployment rates and have consistently. Like, this is a historical trend. Okay, one of the factors that people look at when they're moving to Austin or to San Antonio or any other city is education. So what does the education look like when we're talking about K through 12? In Austin, the quality of K through 12 education is generally higher compared to San Antonio, with a significantly higher percentage of top-rated schools. So I like to use greatschools.org when I am comparing school districts and individual schools. They have data on so many different criteria. Whatever is important to you, you can find that data on greatschools.org. And as for class size, San Antonio has a 9% higher student-teacher ratio, meaning fewer students per classroom. So that is definitely a bonus. Just like in most big cities, in Austin, the inner city schools are not great. And when I say not great, I'm talking about ratings on greatschools.org. I don't have a personal opinion on schools. I don't have kids. I don't send my kids to schools. I am really just talking about objective information. So some of the best school districts in Austin are going to be on the west side of town. Those are the Eanes School District and the Lake Travis School District. Those also happen to be in some of the most expensive areas in Austin, which I think is kind of a trend. That's not unique to Austin, but it is definitely something that you want to consider. Like, if you're thinking about moving into Austin proper, just know that the schools in the general city of Austin are not the best. You're going to have to go on the west side and check out the Eanes School District and Lake Travis. Even north to Leander and Round Rock, those are some of the best school districts in the area. But unfortunately, the Austin Independent School District just doesn't have the best ratings. Okay, what about higher education? Let's talk about opportunities for postgraduate school. So the Austin metro area has about a dozen colleges and universities, including UT Austin, which is known for its research and its diverse academic offerings. It also has a very highly rated law school. I think the UT Law School is like a tier 1 school. So there are a lot of opportunities to get awesome education in Austin. San Antonio has more than 30 colleges and universities, including UT San Antonio. So whatever you are looking for when it comes to postgraduate school, San Antonio and Austin are both going to be really good options for you. There's a lot of opportunity in those individual cities and in the corridor between as well. So you can span everywhere from like Georgetown to San Antonio, and there are a million options for you as far as postgraduate education. Okay, if you're thinking about sending your kids to private schools, good news, both Austin and San Antonio have great private schools. In Austin, a few of the top ones are St. Andrew's Episcopal School and St. Stephen's Episcopal School. And in San Antonio, private schools like TMI Episcopal and St. Mary's Hall are going to be some of the top schools. So most people do send their kids to public school, but if you are looking at private, just know that there are a lot of private schools in these areas. Austin also has really cool international schools that are like French immersion and Spanish immersion, things like that. So if that is something that you're looking for and you really want your child to grow up to be fluent and you want to put that in that immersive environment, there's definitely opportunities in Austin and San Antonio for both of those. So let's talk about stuff to do in Austin and San Antonio. We've talked about the responsible things, right? We've talked about cost of living and housing and schooling and things like that. Let's talk about fun. Let's talk about how much fun there is to have in both cities. So I have personally found that Austin has a really vibrant arts and entertainment scene. There are a ton of live music venues. You probably know that Austin is a live music capital of the world. We have festivals throughout the year, but really anywhere that you pop into in Austin is going to have good live music. If that's something that's important to you, if music just like infiltrates your life or you're a musician, I think Austin is somewhere that you definitely need to consider as far as that goes. Austin has everything from like small intimate clubs. Some of my favorites are the Mohawk, Chirp Charlie's, and Parish, to huge venues that kind of all happen to be named after Moody. So we've got the ACL Moody Theater, we've got the new Moody Amphitheater, which is like a beautiful outdoor venue, and we have the new like Moody Stadium, which kind of replaced the baseball stadium, and that's where people like Taylor Swift come and Adele and Beyonce. Like those are the big stadiums that those amazing performers are coming to. So Austin has like the whole gambit as far as you've got tiny little indie bands where you'll go and there'll be like 20 people in the audience, or you have literally like tens of thousands of people in the audience screaming for Taylor Swift. My husband, believe it or not, is a huge Swiftie. So next time she's here, we're going to have to go and see her. And what I really like about San Antonio is that it has this really cool blend of Texas and Hispanic culture and cultural heritage. So there are a ton of historic icons in San Antonio, like the Alamo and River Walk. And these are really, really cool to explore. I've run the San Antonio Marathon a handful of times. And one of the coolest things is just like running past the Alamo and thinking about how important this structure is in Texas history. And here it is, just like literally in the middle of downtown San Antonio. And you forget how small it is. Like the Alamo is really tiny. When you think about the history of what happened there, like it's a miracle. Like it's literally a Texas miracle. And now it's just built up, like it's right off the Riverwalk, and it's built up by all these buildings and all this industry and development that's gone on there. It's just like, wow, could they have imagined what Texas has grown into when they were fighting for this land? Like that's one thing that I really love about San Antonio is there's so much history there, and there's so, especially when it comes to like the Hispanic culture and the Native American culture and those things. Like obviously Texas as a whole has a really big part in that, but San Antonio specifically is kind of a gem when it comes to that era of Texas and American and Mexican history. So I mentioned that the marathon takes me past the Alamo, takes me past the Riverwalk, and the other cool thing that I got to see on my route was it takes me through the Missions, which is really awesome because it's Texas's only UNESCO World Heritage Site. And I love that San Antonio is preserving its history and its culture in that area. You also can't talk about San Antonio without talking about Fiesta. So the celebration of Fiesta is a 10-day festival with parades and live music and cultural events. And it is a really awesome example of San Antonio's commitment to its heritage and its traditions. So Fiesta started in 1891 as a one parade event to honor the memory of the heroes of the Alamo and the Battle of San Jacinto. So we're still honoring those folks and those events that happened, but really now Fiesta just kind of turned into San Antonio's like celebration of its own cultural heritage and diverse cultures and just like San Antonio in general. And the vibe there is awesome. It's so much fun, and it just makes you proud to be a Texan. I don't know if that sounds cheesy, but I really love Fiesta, and I love the energy that San Antonio has, and really its dedication to preserving its cultural and history and its heritage. So let's talk about transportation and traffic in Austin and in San Antonio. While Austin's public transportation system is not amazing or robust by any means, it still does outshine San Antonio's. So in Austin, we have kind of a light rail system that is more of a commuter rail. It'll take you around downtown, take you to the city, and then it has a few outposts in like North Austin and Leander. That's pretty much it. We are working on expanding it. It's going to go all the way up to the new construction that's going on in Leander. We're building like a big live, work, play area attached to the new train station. And we've been talking about expanding it in the city for years. We're still waiting for that to come to fruition. Everyone has to like agree on the plans, finalize the plans. We have to get money for it, but hopefully that's coming. Other than the rail system, we do have a decent bus system, but it's nothing that you would rely on taking like whenever you need to go somewhere. You are going to need a car in Austin. There's just no way around it. You're also going to need a car in San Antonio. I don't think they have any kind of rail system. They have an okay bus system, but it's not very robust. So neither city is really walkable. You're definitely going to need a car to get around, to do your grocery shopping, to go to restaurants, to do all the activities that you want to do. It's not like a big city like New York or Boston where you can just like hop on the train and go to wherever you need to go. Like the transportation system is not built out like that. And we don't have little pockets of neighborhoods everywhere where you can like, here's my grocery store and my coffee shop and my restaurant. Like the cities are just like very spread out and you're definitely going to need a car. So what is the traffic like in both cities? You may have heard that Austin traffic is crazy, and it is, but it's not LA traffic. It's not Atlanta traffic. So if that's what you're used to, Austin's going to be a little bit better, but it's still not fun. Like it is still pretty heavy and it's kind of ridiculous. This is mostly due to all the rapid growth that has happened in Austin, and the infrastructure and the highways just haven't been able to catch up. When we compare this to San Antonio also has its share of traffic, but it has a more extensive highway system and less urban congestion. It's much easier to navigate. Traffic in San Antonio really isn't that bad. Okay, when it comes to climate and weather, San Antonio and Austin are pretty similar. So in Austin and San Antonio, there are about 106 days annually where the temperature is over 90 degrees, which is hotter than most places in Texas. Like, I need to stress this. You have to understand that it gets very hot here. Last year I think we had the highest June to August on record in all of the time that they've been keeping records in Austin. I'm kind of afraid that this year is going to be worse. So in both cities, the average high is 90 degrees and the average low is 63 degrees. But I just want to put this out here as a side note. I filmed this video in early April. Literally yesterday was April 3rd, and it got up to 91 degrees on April 3rd. So last year, when we had our hottest June to August on record, we hit 100 degrees on like June 4th. I remember that distinctly because I was like, wow, it's only June 4th and we're already at 100 degrees. It's April and we're at 91. So I have a feeling we're going to hit 100 sooner than June 4th. And this is kind of just going to be the trend. It's going to keep getting hotter and hotter for longer and longer in Austin. So if you cannot deal with the heat, neither city is going to be good for you. Neither one. You need to go somewhere else. You need to stay in like Minnesota or Wisconsin or Seattle or something like that. Like it gets very hot here and it can kind of be stifling. I kind of had a hard time last summer because I was like, it's so hot. I don't want to go outside. I can't walk my dogs. Like you have to wait till 9 o'clock at night to walk your dogs when it's only 95 degrees. So if you cannot deal with the heat, neither city is going to be good for you. I just want to put that out there because it's not something that you can really do anything about other than just stay indoors when it's that hot. Now I have a lot of other videos where I talk about, Austinites don't give a shit about the heat. Like we'll go out there and drink a marg on a patio. That's true. But after about 10 minutes, I'm like, okay, I got to go back inside where there's AC. And you can go to Barton Springs, you can go to the pools, but you just got to make sure to sit in the shade, bring your sunscreen, and drink a ton of water. Like you have to drink so much water just to make sure that you don't perish from the heat drying you up. So let's talk about like serious storms and things like that. In Austin and San Antonio, you're going to get some pretty hefty thunderstorms. You may get some hail, but you're not really going to get tornadoes. Tornadoes is what we get in Dallas and North Texas and up in the Midwest. We don't really get them in this side of Texas. So Austin and San Antonio have pretty similar climate, pretty similar weather and storms and things like that. Those cities are great to live and they've got booming economies and lots of opportunity. Austin is a little bit more expensive to live. It's also a little bit hipper, a little bit busier. San Antonio is definitely more affordable. There's definitely a bigger focus on cultural history and on heritage and all of that cool stuff that I love about Texas. It really just depends on what you're looking for. And these are some of the things that we're going to talk about on our call. So I really want to know what is important to you. Why are you moving out here? So we can find the spot that's really going to resonate most with you and help you live the life that you want to live when you're moving out here. So all my contact info is below. If you're looking at moving to Austin, reach out to me. I'll answer the questions that you have and I'll help you get on your feet and make sure you get the right spot out here. I'll talk to you soon.